Hello, I'm Benny Westside, and today I have my good friends ZeroKool Gamer and Cleaning Agent here to discuss the Marvels, and we're gonna be discussing spoilers today. So if
Ooh,
you haven't seen it or care about spoilers, watch out. If you don't mind, welcome in. And then also welcome into ZeroKool Gamer and Cleaning Agent.
thanks, Penny. You also have a non-spoiler review posted on your YouTube, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
So everybody can head on over there if they haven't watched it yet, so they can get a great synopsis and get excited for the movie.
Yeah.
I know I did.
Oh yeah, you said you watched it before seeing the movie, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
just in preparation to know what
to,
you
to,
to
to
know what
know
you
what I'm
felt
in
about the
for.
movie. Yeah.
I thought we should start with a quick recap of what happens in the movie. Uh, we're at a point where Kamala Khan has gotten her powers with her show, or found her powers. She had them. She unlocked them. She's living in New Jersey. She has hard light, so basically Sue Storm's hard light powers. And then we find Photon, who has the other part of Sue Storm's powers, which is like light bending and like invisibility and like I don't know what's going on, but they're like disassembled Sue Storm and then gave those powers to these characters. She got her
But
powers in. Sorry.
photon can also absorb, right? I don't
Yeah,
know.
she absorbs light. She
Yeah.
blasts light, and then she can see the spectrum of light. I don't quite know what that means, but like she can see it and I guess perceive light in a way that we can't.
Right.
And she got her powers from the Scarlet Witch, and we have Captain Marvel who got her powers from the Tesseract, and Kamala Khan is in New Jersey living her high school life. Photon, Monica Rambeau is working for Sword, which is like the next iteration of Shield. She's up in space on a satellite called Saber, working for Nick Fury. After the death of her mom, who founded Sword, Nick Fury is kind of a mentor to her, and she's helping him with Sword and space exploration and research. And we find out that they're in contact with other nations or like other planets across the galaxy. Nick Fury is like, when there's a threat, he says like, "I'll let the other people know or see if they know anything." And then Captain Marvel's kind of just chilling. She has her own bachelor pad in a spaceship somewhere, and she's kind of like defending the cosmos on her own. And the whole thing starts when a Kree um, we found out she's kind of the new leader of the Kree, Darben. She has been searching for this relic, which is quantum band, and she discovers it. And the reason she's been searching for it is after the events of Captain Marvel's first movie, so 30 years prior to this one, she went directly to the Kree Supreme Intelligence, blasted it, and the Kree were left without direction. So that plunged them into civil war. They depleted all of their resources. Somehow they sucked the energy out of their star, and like they don't have a working sun. I don't know how, but somehow they did. Their oxygen or like their atmosphere is depleted. Their water is depleted. Anyway, so they're in a tough space, and Darben sort of like claimed leadership after defeating some other people also trying to gain leadership. And she wants the quantum bands, which were used in like in the past, sometime like when early in the universe, to create these jump holes that we've seen in all of the cosmic MCU movies. So she wants to use them to create jump holes to suck resources from other planets. So she wants to save her planet while also taking revenge from Captain Marvel by, stealing those resources from planets that she cares about. When she hits the quantum band to unlock the portal, it triggers a reaction because Kamala Khan has the other of that pair of quantum bands, and it entangles her powers with Captain Marvel and Photon. So whenever either two or three of them use their powers simultaneously, they swap places. Once they realize this, there's like this initial action sequence that takes place on the sword station, Kamala's house, and Darben's ship, I believe, and they keep swapping places. And they realize what's going on. They all come together so that they don't, teleport intergalactically when that happens. And they try to go to the source of it, who's Darben, and she's trying to talk to this Skrull refuge planet that's been established, and then she's using it as a ruse to go there legally, but then steal their atmosphere illegally. They go there, can't save them. This atmosphere sucked. They get some of the Skrulls, some of them they leave to die, and then they
The Skrull death.
yeah,
Of Skrull death.
a lot of Skrulls died, and Captain Marvel contacts Valkyrie, who comes and takes them to a refuge, presumably New Asgard on Earth, but maybe elsewhere. I don't know. And then she realizes, they see there's a star map, because Kamala saw it, and then they use these devices to access her memories to find the star map to see where she's going. She's going to Aladna, which is a very aquatic planet, to steal their water, so they head there. We find out that Captain Marvel is the princess of this planet. And then they try to save that planet. They can't. They leave there. And then they finally realize Darben's going to steal the energy from Earth's sun. So they go back to our solar system, and the Saber space station is in trouble because when she created the portal, it kind of like short-circuited the satellite or whatever, so they can't go back to Earth. They're like, the whole thing is burning up. They try to get back to Earth by having the Flurkin kittens swallow everybody so that they can use the two remaining escape pods to go back to Earth, because there's just too many people to fit into the regular pods. Anyway, so that is like a side quest that happens, and then they go to Darben's ship, who's like close to the sun. Darben grabs gets the bangle from Kamala Khan, bumps them together. I don't know why. She had already opened the portal to steal the sun. I don't know why, but she bangs it together, rips space-time, dies because she can't handle the power of the quantum bands. And then they need to fix the hole in space-time, and Photon says, if you guys blast me with a lot of light, I can absorb it and then use it to fix it, because she can project light and do beams and lasers and something. Anyway, she knows she can, so she goes and fixes it and remains on the other side of the hole. We come to find that that other side of the hole, the equivalent of her mother, is alive, but she either doesn't have a daughter or doesn't know has been amnesiaed by Rogue or something. So she doesn't recognize her, and there's also an active beast in that universe who Monica Rambeau or Maria Rambeau is working with. And then we also have another end scene where Kamala Khan goes to recruit Kate Bishop. That was like a Michael Pena recap of what happens in the movie.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm glad you did that, because I forgot half of that stuff.
I guess that answers my next question. What did you guys think of the movie?
Zero, what'd you think?
You know what? If I had it was a fun movie. It was quick. It was fast paced. because we didn't really need too much backstory on the Marvels. If you've watched the shows and you've catched up with the movies and stuff, you're pretty good. The only bad part is they did not give me any reason to care about Darben. None. It just didn't feel like it was full investment into the cause of it. It felt like it felt like the Michael Pena recap really fast. Like it didn't really seem like they pushed on it how devastating it was. It was really quick and it was just like, "Oh, okay. Oh, and she does got the hammer that freaking Ronan got. Oh, why? Okay, whatever. Cool. We'll just keep running with it." I mean, they could have spent some time on there to push a little further so we're like, "Oh, this is like really bad stuff." She's trying to help, but I didn't really feel her as a villain. It was more like she's just doing what she needs to do, but it didn't hit as hard as like the whole Thanos thing. He's trying to do somewhat of a nice thing, but he just got a little lost along the way and just started murdering everybody. So this one it just felt quicker. And yeah, I didn't have that investment in Darben as a villain to be like, oh, she's really going to take all three of these girls on and win. But she's not.
I agree with Zero. I enjoyed that it was a 90-minute movie. It was quick paced, but it did suffer in those areas like caring for the villain more, or their reasoning for doing things is a little bit glossed over, and so you don't really care about them as much, or their efforts, or why they're doing it. Which, unfortunately, without a good villain arc, it's hard to have a good hero arc, and everything. Everything kind of falls apart in that aspect. But I wouldn't say falls apart, but it's just not as, it doesn't pull you in as much.
So, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Was it the best movie? Was it top 10 Marvel? No. Does the story have loopholes? Yeah, but I think it's one of the like middle tier ones where you go and you have a lot of fun watching it, and it's also one of the ones where the villain got what she wanted. Even though she was very underdeveloped, this villain won. She got her planet. Well, she didn't live to see it, but her planet got fixed, or we're assuming.
No, absolutely, yes, yeah. It ends with Captain Marvel fixing the planet.
Yeah, I think.
But again, there's so many problems with that as well.
I do think she's very underdeveloped as a villain. I agree. Whereas, like, from her point of view, she's a savior to her people, right? She's trying to go do something right. But as ZeroKool Gamer said, we didn't really feel the weight of that, which is one of my main problems with this movie. You have all these actors, like Academy Award winning actors even, and there's a lot of potential for emotional situations, but you don't give them time to play that and like act it out and show us anything about Maria Rambeau's death. We didn't have Monica react to it enough. We didn't have Brie Larson react to it enough. It was like bang, bang, bang. Okay, I'm sorry I left. I wasn't there. I'm sorry. Like, it goes so quickly. Or like the part where they let the Skrulls die. Afterwards, they didn't like talk about it enough. Or when Kamala Khan just like, out of the water planet, she like rushed them out of there. They didn't talk about it. I think they could have used more runtime, or they could have cut out the cat stuff and like spent time on like actors acting and like giving us emotion. One thing that I think would have been super fun, and maybe you guys are gonna say like, don't waste Kevin Feige's money on this, a Disney Plus show like Annihilation or something, where like Captain Marvel destroys Hala. We see that whole fight. And then it's like a couple episodes of the Civil War. And we see how Darben beats like Jude Law and like bring in some other character. And there's like these characters trying to gain control. And we see why she, like what she suffered, that Civil War, like stripping the planet. But it's also like, who cares, right? probably nobody was
Yeah.
gonna care.
I think here's the problem. It's like we get the gist of it from this movie.
Hmm.
I think they could have added 15, 20 minutes to make that more robust
Hmm.
and us care about why this villain is doing it. But I think they, in production or whatever, whoever had the say in it, is like, we want a fast-paced action movie. So we're just going to hit these story beats, but we're not going to expand on them, right? Like, I think that was just like the goal of this movie, which is fine. But again, like you said, it does leave us wanting more from the villain, makes us wanting more from the interrelationships between the Marvels themselves. Like all of that just gets glossed over. So it unfortunately hollows out the movie a little bit. And I feel that definitely makes this not as enjoyable movie as it could have been. But as ZeroKool Gamer said, it's a fun action movie. It has its flaws, but you know, it moves along. So you can eat your popcorn and then hightail it out of there.
Yeah, I'd have to disagree with the cap. I'd leave the Flurkins in. The Flurkins were hilarious. That was like the best part of it. It was just it was funny as shit because they were just saying, you do this, just get eaten. That's all you got to do, and nobody wants to accept it. Like, no, I don't feel like. Do you want to stay here and die? Like, just let the cat.
I'll counter you. I'll counter you, ZeroKool Gamer. Here's what I've found. Everybody loved the Flurkin in Captain Marvel. Because you're like, oh, there's this cat up here, and then you find out it's this crazy alien, and it's super cool. This movie had 95% too much Flurkin. Like, every other scene, the Flurkin's eating random furniture, doing random Flurkin things, and everybody's like, oh, what's this? Oh, everybody's like, surprise in the Flurkin, when everybody in the audience already knows what it is.
Yeah.
So if they would have cut out all the Flurkin business in the beginning of the movie, she can have her cat follow her around. Okay, the Flurkin's there. The cat goes to the space station. Great. It's there, but don't do any of the Flurkin stuff until, boom, Flurkin babies everywhere. We need the Flurkin to solve this problem. That would have been a much better payoff and more funny to me. Whereas they just oversaturated it because everybody loved the Flurkin from Captain Marvel.
For me, was it like bad? No, but I would have liked that runtime for something else.
Exactly.
It's like that whole scene with memories and like the chase was, sure, it was fun and funny, but as I said, I would have liked it for more emotional stuff. I think the best use of the cat was in the beginning fight, and like that gag with Kamala Khan first experiencing the kitten or cat, and like she like loses her mind, and which they used in the trailer. But I thought that was like the best Flurkin scene from this movie. But anyway, I thought it was like a side quest in the end with like evacuating the satellite. Like, did we need all of that? Like, the satellite could have been fine.
For sure. The other thing is, like, here's my biggest gripe with the Flurkin evac scene is Miss Marvel's parents, the most untrained space travelers, did not have to get swallowed by the Flurkin to make room for trained professionals who could fly ships and actually help in the process. Like, what the actual F?
Because they're named actors, right? Like, people cast actors or whatever.
Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
I know. And like there were 2 pods. One pod, they just put cats in there and they sent it out. There was no human guiding that pod. But
just autopilot.
That blows my mind.
So I was just like, there was like so many like weird things. I'm like, why is this the logic? And that, you know me, Benny knows anything illogical I just hate. So that really got me.
They didn't follow, or at least somewhat coincide with the end of Secret Invasion.
I think Secret Invasion is after this.
Is it after it or is it before?
I think the movie got pushed. in terms of release date. It was supposed to
Okay.
come
So
out
that-
in May or February or something like that, and it kept getting pushed.
Yeah, because if it's before it, I could. If it was supposed to come out before it, I could understand that. But there was people in the lobby going, "Well, why were the scrolls there if they're basically gonna get, they're gonna get hunted down? The
Yeah.
president doesn't want these guys here." And they're like, okay."
I mean,
that's great,
Secret
but-
Invasion itself is a whole different can of worms. Because
Well,
this
Can of worms.
General or Emperor Droge, they talk about him in that movie where they say like Droge's colony or whatever. So that's why I thought maybe Valkyrie took them elsewhere instead of Earth. Because if Droge was on Earth in New Asgard, they wouldn't have talked about his colony in space.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I have bigger problems with the Skrulls in general. Like,
Sure.
the whole aspect, like, their whole story of, like, we have nowhere to live. In the vast, endless universe, you've got nowhere, there's no open planet for you to colonize and just make your home. Like, give me a break. Get out of here. I'm done with
When
the
they say
Skrulls.
there's nowhere to live, but you got a planet where those scrolls are at.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
that-
so
Okay, I don't
bogus.
get this.
And it
Bogus.
Oh, can I say this as an architect? The planet that the scrolls were in was like the architecture was beautiful.
Oh, yes.
Those swirly
Oh, yes.
terraces. I was like, damn, whoever drew this.
Yeah, those
It
Skrulls
was-
should
it
be
was-
happy.
Yeah, those I think those ones were happy. That they seemed good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
It-
just like, after Secret Invasion and even Captain Marvel, after all Skrull experiences, I have not really enjoyed. I don't understand their problem. I don't understand why they have to be on Earth. Like, their whole storyline in the MCU specifically is kind of just trash.
I think MCU squandered the scrolls for sure.
100%.
It should have been
Yeah.
this like suspense of who's real and who's fake and what's going on, and like I don't know if somebody dies, are they gonna turn green, and like
Yeah.
this complete like it should have been a phase of suspense instead of a phase of multiverse bullshit. It should have been a phase of like random people dying and like turning into scrolls or like anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Skrulls could have been utilized as a full phase of like, okay, this is the big bad. It's not one person. It's an entire race that is secretly taking over the world.
Yeah.
That's a huge, great storyline with huge potential. They squandered into a horrible TV series and jammed it into a couple of movies that just didn't work.
Yeah.
So that didn't
They had the
help
potential to
my
bring in-
enjoyment of this movie.
Yeah, they had the potential to push that one, but I'm still I don't I guess with the Marvels was over long term the Kree were always pitted as the bad guys, like they were never seen as anything but that. It was boom, they're always the bad guys, and sure they changed the Skrulls around to be the I guess the nomads now wherever they go. But then towards the end, the Marvels are like, oh wait, are Kree not going to still try to take over the galaxy again? Like, they're just gonna chill and be happy that we got a son? I don't know. I don't get it.
Probably-
You guys,
Once they rebuild or something, or they might just
Yeah.
leave that story altogether.
And because they lost their big AI thing, maybe there's a chance they're not going to try to dominate the universe. I don't know. The Kree, I have my own issues with the Kree, but at least they have direction and purpose. So they get a little bit of a pass for me compared to the uselessness of the Skrull.
Speaking of cosmic nations, what did you guys think about Aladna?
this is
So, okay.
where, yeah, go ahead, go first.
This is an actual place in the comics, right?
Yes.
So it is a world, and their language is song.
I think in the comics they have to rhyme,
Right.
but for the movie
Sure.
they turned it into song.
So, okay. I I don't mind it, but again, their follow through wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, it's a zany comic book world, and it's like, hey, we're gonna go to these 3 worlds. Let's make one of them just super fun and kind of wild and whatever. That's fine. And it played well off of the super serious Captain Marvel going to this like super light and dancey world. It was a good contrast for her, so I appreciated that. But like at the end of the day, there was so many like missed opportunities that I was like, if you're gonna go in, go all in. You know, like they battle cried when they started the fight with the Kree. That should have been a song. It should have been a sing-songy battle cry, not some, like gruntle charge. And on top of that, they're all about dancing. They should have been doing dance combat. Yeah. There is, even on Earth now, capoeira is like a dance martial art. They could have incorporated something like that. They could have made that really cool. And then thirdly, like, Miss Marvel got this like crazy fun fabric whip thing that was like grabbing guys and tossing them. You could have incorporated that into everybody else's weapons. Nobody else had a weapon like that on this whole world where she got the weapon. So it made no sense. Like,
I think that was just so she could do something when she wasn't allowed to use her powers.
I 100% I understand the reason for it, but why wouldn't it be incorporated into this world where, like, obviously they have this thing that does this. Why don't they all have that thing? And why aren't they all using it? It's like so weird to me that they only half incorporated this idea, and they could have fully emerged into it, and it would have been so much more enjoyable.
I'm with you. The first time I watched it, I was with my brother, and that's why I was like not loving it. I was thinking like, oh, he's gonna hate this. He's gonna be mad at me for bringing him here. On my second watch, Aladna was like, because I knew what I was going into and I was alone, it was a lot more lighthearted, and I liked it. And just looking at Monica and Kamala in that scene, they were like feeling it. And then even in my first watch, when I saw like the stoic Captain Marvel like sparkle into a gown and like go dance, I was like, oh, even she's all in. That made me turn on it, and I was like, oh, okay, like she's in, so okay, I'm in too. But I'm with you. I think they could have followed through. I think they should have had really like catchy songs, both like the Welcome to Aladna or whatever, like their song Up, and the song that the Captain Marvel and Prince Yan sing to each other. Those could have been like bangers. They could have had somebody compose the next I'm Just Ken, and people could, like, it would have been catchy, and like people would listen to it. The way it was like hard to follow what they were saying to each other, because they were like communicating. So, but I wasn't interested in listening to the song and the words.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
I guess we were seeing people leave the theater, go like fill up popcorn or go to the bathroom hearing it because they didn't want to deal with it.
That's a solid moment to do that, actually.
Yeah, that's that. But it was like, okay, and you could just see them going like they didn't care, so they were just like boom, and then they'd come back. But the fight scene was already started, but everybody sat down, so it was like, okay, cool. Granted, I went day one. There wasn't really a lot of people in there at 3 p.m. But
yeah.
Usually for a Marvel movie, that place is usually packed. This one was not, which was, we were like, oh God, we should be there a little bit earlier just in case, get popcorn and stuff. We go in there, that place was empty. There was one person at the desk just talking to somebody, not waiting for food or anything. So we're just like, oh, we came early for nothing. Okay. But
to be fair, that's how I like watching my movies.
We do I do to a point, but I do like seeing like the reactions too for like certain scenes or certain stuff.
The audience gives an energy for sure, right? Yeah.
It gives that energy, and it just wasn't there for that section of the movie.
Like Cleaning Agent. I don't know if you guys have AMC in Canada, but at AMC theaters here, there's like a Nicole Kidman, like introduction to AMC, and just the reaction to that with the crowd always gets me in the mood, and I'm just like, yes, we're here, we're at the theater, and it's not just me falling asleep on my couch.
We do not have AMC, but it sounds good. It sounds
yeah,
good.
the Nicole Kidman thing is really good. People crack
Funny.
up when she comes up.
I guess
Well,
I guess
that's
the last
usually
thing.
the part where we know the trailers are over. That's
Yeah,
the part
yeah,
we know when she shows up, the trailer's over. Finally,
movie's
we're
going.
gonna have
Movie's going. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess the last thing about that planet, I'm just ragging on everything. That's why I'm here. That's why Benny brought me in. Everybody, I can just rag on everything. If you're singing in English and you don't understand talking English, something's wrong.
Well,
It's not that different.
I
really
think
not.
that's just like kooky comic logic, right? Because if in the comics they don't understand unless it's rhyme.
Even if it was that, I would accept that more. If it was like at least something. It's just like, because they weren't sing rhyming anything really either. It was just like, it was so weird that
The songs could have been catchy and like they could have been good
if
songs.
the songs, if they had to sing in rhyme in order for them to understand, that would have been more believable than just, I am singing with a melody, so now you can understand.
So
Like, that's no different than me saying, you can understand me now, okay?
I heard about a cut scene where the three leads were having to dance to something, but it got cut. And I think that would have been good in terms of like playing into them learning how to work together because their powers are entangled. That might be why they like decided to bring Aladna into this. But cutting that kind of like defeated that purpose. I thought it was fine overall.
I thought there
but
was a
it could've
few
been better.
jarring cuts in this movie in general, actually. Like, I had heard that there was some like reshoots or cuts or something, but like there was times I was like, okay, even at the beginning, Miss Marvel's in her suit when she's getting teleported around and fighting, and then immediately after the fight, she's like in normal casual clothes. I'm like, what happened to her suit? Like, what? There's this weird cut that time has elapsed and it has no.
Oh yeah.
There was no reason for it, and,
I didn't
and there was a
notice
few.
that.
Yeah, there was a few times in the movie where I was just like, there's some weird cuts in here, and I don't know, maybe it's just like they were like, this needs to be no more than an hour and 45 minutes. Like, just make it happen. I was like, okay. I don't know. That maybe it's just me, but that was one of the main ones that stood out. I was like, she's just in her day clothes. Where did her costume go? Why did she change when seemingly no time has passed? It was weird.
You brought up that fight. In that fight, whenever she sees Nick Fury, she's like, "Hi." That was like so endearing and like. Her
I'll just say
fangirling.
this straight up. I'll say this straight up. She's the best part of the movie.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Like 100%, she's the best part of the movie, and it almost makes me want to watch her TV series.
Her TV series is also a lot of her being good. The final episode is not good. Like,
Fair.
the parts where they explore her life, her family, her community, those are amazing. But when it comes to like the final big fight with like the same versus same,
Right.
yeah.
Like most comic book movies, the final fight is
Yeah.
leaves you wanting more.
Yeah. The beginning of
Okay.
the show is amazing though.
So just speaking of then, what is Miss Marvel Hardlight's powers exactly? Because I haven't watched all of her TV series, I'm not familiar with the MCU version.
It's just that hard light. She can turn light into physical matter in whatever shape she wants.
Okay, but she does not need the band to do that. Is that correct?
She doesn't. The band kind of like awakened it, she's a mutant. When
Right.
she put the band on first, it awakened it, and the band also transports her between this like dimension and something called the Nord dimension, which is like where genies come from. It's a part of the show, and it also transported her back in time, which they alluded to in the movie. So
Okay.
it does have that like space stone, time stone powers, and how like the band's like ripped through space time. So that's kind of like ingrained into the relic, but it's also not like super set in stone because nobody
Okay.
really knows.
Right. Yeah. So as far as we know, then, as far as I'm understanding it, because it gave me a little bit of confusion for the entanglement, because I wasn't aware. So her power is the light, hard light, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
The band unlocked that, and then the band has its own kind of time travel-y different types of powers,
Yes,
which
she
she
doesn't.
has control over or doesn't have control
She hasn't explored it.
over. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, because my question immediately was like, okay, Darben gets the other gauntlet and opens up this thing, and they all get entangled. Why wasn't Darben entangled with them? Because she has a bracelet or the band as well, and that's because she doesn't actually have
Powers.
the light powers.
Yeah, she doesn't have light powers.
Okay, so it's only the three with the light powers. That's what signified the entanglement. Okay, that makes sense now. That makes sense. Although, that being said, I still feel some of the times they didn't swap when they should have been.
So
Like when-
They said they used their powers and they weren't going back and forth, and you're just like,
yeah, like
If-
when Miss Marvel
What
and
is-
Photon fly off, they should have been swapping places, right?
if Captain Marvel just flies, I don't think it counts as a light power. When she blasts photon, like when she does a photon blast, that counts as like the light entanglement.
Only when they use blasting power and or hard light.
Yeah, so when they use light.
So how does Captain Marvel fly?
I
I'm
think
asking lots of questions.
I don't know. I don't think she uses light to fly, but I mean, how does Superman fly? So,
That's
like,
the thing. I don't
I
know
don't
enough
know.
about the power.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
But,
I think
Okay.
with the MCU especially, they've been very fluid on the powers, so
Yeah,
different
yeah.
directors can like add or take away or shift.
It's just like any comic book. Like different writers do different things with their powers, right? And you discover or hinder them whichever way you need to tell the best story.
Yeah.
So I can give that a pass. The biggest one was like the band. I didn't know if the band needed to be there. So like, and I thought it would have been cool if Darben also was swapping with them.
That would have been pretty interesting.
It would have made a
That
really
would've been- yeah.
interesting wrench in the mix. But the way it was fine. Okay. So now that we're on the entangled, I want to bring us over to the training montage.
Oh, I
guess.
was about to say the same thing. Shit.
Oh.
What are your thoughts? ZeroKool gamers, let us have it. What are your thoughts?
I'm still going with the fun part. I'll be positive with this part. It was actually kind of cool seeing them do it for a little bit, but like it felt like it was that part really didn't bother me at all. Actually, it was nice to see it to where there was some cohesion between them, and even their can't really say personalities because they really didn't talk too much with it, but they were trying to do stuff with it, and it was pretty cool. But I think it really would have been an interesting sight to see Darben throw into there if they're all using these powers. It would have been nuts because they would have been, oh, okay, and it would have added something just outrageously interesting to it. But overall, the scene itself was cool, but it would have been, I mean, like I said, the movie overall fun, but this part was, I enjoyed the switching and stuff where they were training and learning over the actual dancing. Over the whole musical part.
Right. Okay.
Because they were all interacting, and you could just see like at some points the fangirl just pop right out of Miss Marvel, just like bam, boom, it's always there, and it just never stops. It always still comes out, even though she's like, I'm a part of this, but bam, haha, here I am. But it was all right. I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, you don't seem to have liked it.
Don't worry about me yet. What about you, my friend?
Oh, for me, I liked it. I think it showed their like intention to be able to work with it, this hindrance, and like the whole like juggling and things like that. It was a nice fun, and it was also team building, like some type of icebreaker for them and me to them. So I liked it, and it they still were having trouble using it, like doing the switching in combat in Aladdin. So I felt that was realistic, as opposed to them immediately knowing how to perfectly do it.
Yeah, yeah, they didn't perfect it by any means.
Yeah, and the direction and like the editing and scene cutting whenever they swap places with the powers was always fantastic. That's why that first fight, I think, taking place across the house, the satellite, and the Darben's ship, I think that's probably one of my favorite MCU fight scenes. It like the whole editing and like the swapping of it was great. But let's get back to the montage.
No, that's a good side beat. I didn't mind the montage either for the most part, and I do. I'm gonna find problems with everything. My biggest problem with this is, and here's the thing: this movie is all about strong female leads, which is great, and showing, young female representing females and showing them it's okay to enjoy comics and they can fight and be strong and all that. Awesome. I'm with that 100%. Why are you then throwing in like a kid's game of skipping to counter that almost? It just seems like it's too much the other way, to be like, why aren't they training doing cool, physical, dangerous things? Because they're strong, capable women. Like, it just seemed like it was like so weird. The skipping specifically, because like the juggling and the ball toss, that all makes sense. But they could have been doing so many other cool, like, physical things than just, hey, we're three girls skip roping. You know what I mean?
So they should have like landed on a planet, done a whole like training montage with like cliffs and things like that.
Sure. I mean, they could still do it on the ship. I'm sure they could do still cool things on the ship, right? There's enough room to do some things. And like they started by like they were like throwing things and diving and doing that, and then but the focus was the skip rope for me, and I felt that. And even my wife, he was like, this took away from it so much, being like, oh no, this is like girls have to do a female girly thing, which is like this skip rope thing is known for females to do that, and that's a girl thing to do. It can be anything. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a girl-specific known thing. And so that to me, I was like, oh man, that's weird that they chose that. And I think the reason why, like their heart is in the right place, that's something young girls can relate to, being like, oh, okay, even like superheroes are doing this. Like it's a way to reach them and connect with them. But I think it just felt weird being like, oh, they're girls, so they have to train in a girl way. That's what it came across as to me.
Okay, I in my life had never considered like skipping rope as like a girl activity, so that never dawned on me. But
right.
I understand that, so that's why I've been like jaw dropped right now.
Right.
I guess it is a girl, or like more of a feminine. I don't know.
I think it's less so nowadays, but like historically, I think.
Okay. For me, I've never had that like body coordination to be able to do it. So for me,
Sure,
it's
yeah.
always been like something I can't do. Um,
It looks sick. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
um, that's why for me it was like a body coordination thing, going from like doing this to like the jumping when they swap.
Yeah,
But
100%.
I
I feel it
understand where
worked for
you're
what they were
coming
doing.
from.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I hadn't, considered that at all. Interesting. Very,
Yeah.
very interesting.
But aside
No,
from
my
that,
mom.
I love that they gave the time to do the montage, and I thought it was fun overall. I just that really kind of rubbed it the wrong way a little bit.
I see.
Yeah, my mom looked at it. She's like, "Why the hell are they jumping rope? Like, I don't understand why they're not trying something a little bit more. I
Dangerous.
don't know." Or she was just like, "The Kree's not gonna jump over there and say, 'I'm jumping in too.' Like that's nothing for combat that's gonna happen."
Yeah,
She's just sitting there like, I don't see the need for them doing it. She's like,
Hmm.
I see that it's funny, but not for
For sure.
this. And I'm just
yeah,
like,
and I mean
I
they
didn't
were
write
like
it.
they were specifically like working on being able to transport places and stay within like that momentum. So like it made sense because it takes three people to do that jump rope stuff, but they could have done it in a more combative type way of like I'm gonna shoot my photon in your direction, which is gonna teleport, and then I'll phase through it so I don't get hurt. Like there's other ways they could have done the same thing that wasn't stereotypical female. I feel
I see.
that's all.
Okay. Yeah, I'd never thought of it as a stereotypical activity.
Hmm.
You touched on representation. I want to bring up how Kamala Khan's a Muslim character, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was so nice to see a Muslim character on the big screen like that with her family, and they had these like little things that they said that maybe I don't know how you guys felt, but to me it wasn't like pushing it in people's faces. It was just showing who they were, very like cutely, or naturally. So I like that it was there, and considering like the whole political situation right now, they didn't like cut those scenes or like ADR'd it away last minute. That I really appreciated that.
I'm all for it.
So for me, that was
I
very nice.
yeah, no, I with again, Miss Marvel, her whole everything Miss Marvel, I pretty much enjoy in this movie, including the family, aside from them not getting flirkened. But that's irrelevant to what we're talking about. Yeah, I like their family dynamic. I love how loving and supportive they are, and you can see that that's what makes Miss Marvel who she is. I think that was all well established, and they gave the time to do that. I enjoyed that. I have something else about other representation to talk about, but I'll
Sure.
let ZeroKool
Oh yeah.
chat first.
No, it wasn't overbearing or anything like that. They weren't trying to push with it. I mean, she was there. She's got her family behind her. They're full fledged right behind her, and they're actually worried about her. Where some families could just be like, well, she popped off. No, but they're actually sitting there, still treating her like a high school girl that just has these powers. Boom, we still want to make sure our kid is okay, and it's not really too like, ooh, they're throwing all this stuff in there. It was more just, hey, it's a mom and dad and a brother trying to figure out is our daughter and sister going to be okay, and not really pushing like, oh my god, some either political overtone or something where it was too like pushed down your throat. It was perfectly fine.
What was your other representation?
Oh.
Ask you guys this again. I have more of a theater, maybe some film background that I'm not everybody has, so I never know what people know or not. Have you heard the term the magic Negro?
No.
Okay. So in early 2000s, I think it was Spike Lee who kind of introduced this term called the magic Negro. And what it relates to is in movies, when white characters or Caucasian characters are in trouble in a film, a magic Negro will come and save the day and sacrifice themselves without any real reason for it, to save the white protagonist. And I felt that this definitely kind of fit the bill in
With
this movie.
Photon?
With Photon, yeah. In multiple ways. And so, like, if you can think, I guess some examples is like The Green Mile, even maybe Ghost to some extent, like with Whoopi Goldberg. But a lot in like earlier film, it's like the noble savage or the magic Negro is kind of the terminology used. And so it's usually like an African American person who has some sort of special abilities, and they sacrifice themselves to allow the lead Caucasian to victory of some kind. And I felt that this kind of fit the bill a little bit, and I was like wondering why. And I felt bad for Photon for most of the movie because of it. Photon, like, she was abandoned by Captain Marvel at a young age, never came back, and then she gets on her merry way and she's like the smartest of them. She's solving almost all of the issues throughout the movie, and then ultimately sacrifices herself knowing that she's not coming back. And I'm just like, wow, this is like so weird to me that, and like even solves the problem with the Kree for Captain Marvel being like, you can just go light up the sun, like go do it, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like she pretty much solves everything in this movie. And I don't think, whereas I felt Miss Marvel got a lot of good time and screen time and development time in the movie, we did not see that for Photon, nor have we seen that for Photon in any previous MCU thing. So that really felt bad to me. And then the biggest concern to me is like, is that because of all these weird edit cut things that I've heard of? Like, we missed a lot of those chunks? Because I'm pretty sure the writer and director is a known African-American woman.
Yeah. So, I have, like, multiple things to respond to in what you said.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I laid out a lot. I just got serious here.
Yeah. I agree that Photon should have had more character depth or development. The memory scene where they're like linking memories, so when Photon was blipped, Maria calls Captain Marvel and they have a talk, and this is something that Monica's not privy to ever. This is the first time she's seeing it, and probably like one of the last days of her mom's life or something like that, at a time that she was disappeared. And she didn't watch it, and she said, I don't want to relive this, where she hadn't lived it before. I think that could have been expanded. We could have seen Maria say something about, like, take care of Monica when she comes back, something like that. And then once they take it off, we could have gotten more time with Monica's reaction to it. And that's what I meant in the beginning when it was like, why aren't you letting your actresses act? I think we could have seen a lot more, which is why I was happy to see her in the end with her mom, or like not her mom, but the other Maria. Yeah. That whole...
Is it? Yeah.
When she woke up and saw her, that was beautiful. Like, she burst into tears. That could have been a little longer even. I thought that was great acting.
Well, that was the biggest problem, though. It's like, that was a...
end credit scene. It wasn't a...
credit scene.
Yeah.
And it was the most important story beat for her character.
Yeah.
And so that I just feel that's so wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that could have been maybe in the movie or something. Like, for everybody got excited about Beast. For me, I got excited because we get to, one, see Maria Rambeau again, because Lashana Lynch, I think, is amazing. Two, we get to see Photon and that different Maria, like, navigate this situation. if
100%, yeah.
if it ever like comes to fruition. But like that's why I
Probably
got
not.
excited.
They don't seem to care about Photon at all.
So beyond that, in the beginning when Photon is explaining the powers, she specifically says, "You have hard light. I can see light energy, and Captain Marvel absorbs light energy." That's what she said in the beginning when they're like explaining the powers to the parents. But in the end, she's like, "Let me absorb the energy."
Sacrificial.
So I wonder, and I've heard that Nia DaCosta wanted or did take some of Captain Marvel's stuff and put it into Photon because she wanted to like embellish the black woman, which I can understand, but maybe the way she did it in your words didn't really translate to a deep character, but she just like took that sacrifice, which maybe initially was written for Captain Marvel, but she wouldn't have had the ability to like fix that rip. So
yeah, right.
like I've pondered it myself. Why would they say Captain Marvel absorbs it, and then the key moment is Photon absorbing it? But maybe it's just like overthought or oversight, or I don't know what it was, but
yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
The weird thing about that end part where she's sewing it back together is like, did she have to be on the other side of the tear? Couldn't she do it from our universe side? Like, it seemed weird.
I think it was like
to be on the other side.
She's pushing it like.
Yeah. It just seemed like, there's two sides. You can see it on both sides. Maybe you can just go on this side and fix it up real neat and tidy. But that wouldn't be as a dramatic ending, I guess. Which wasn't that dramatic. They're like, oh, she's gone. Cool. Bye.
Yeah. If we do see her again, though, I am very hopeful for what she gets to do with Lashana Lynch, if at all.
If they can fix her and give her a proper story arc, I would be thrilled, because she does seem like a great character. She has great backstory. I just feel like they did her so dirty in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really. I didn't. Seriously, she had to push the door closed. She couldn't be on the other side and pull the door. I don't remember there being a sign for one side. I think you could do both.
Exit only.
But,
exit only.
Yeah, but I mean, unless you literally see somebody get vaporized or stabbed through the heart, where they're definitely dead for sure, and nobody's gonna come save them, I don't trust nothing with Marvel saying that these people are dead. Especially since the entire thing for the entire saga right now is the multiverse saga. So we knew kind of right away when she was closing it. We were just like, they're gonna either show her up somewhere later, or we're gonna see an end credit scene now. And then when she popped up, it was cool. But then again, that audience reaction as soon as Beast showed up, oh my God, this is amazing.
It was all for Kelsey Grammer. It was nothing for Photon, except for Benny Westside.
Except for me.
Yeah, you
actually, the minute when she went through there, I thought, okay, she's gonna end up on the other side. And then when it actually happened, I knew 100% the end credits scene was gonna be her with Maria Rambeau as Captain Marvel, because she was Captain Marvel in the Doctor Strange movie. I thought it was gonna be that version, or like another version of that version. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she was wearing Binary's costume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was Binary. Yeah.
She was wearing Binary.
Which is like this different iterations of the same, I guess, character. But somebody I heard say, Binary in the comics is Carol Danvers after she got rogued, and considering Beast was there, this one might have gotten rogued as well. So maybe there's a rogue there. I don't know. Or it might just be an opportunity to like reference something from the comics.
No, thinking about it, I was going like, well, costume looks really it looks really nice, and I'm going, if she's Binary, then, but she still has her powers now. Whether I'm just gonna assume like, hey, Binary's there, and she found her. She's got her powers to take, grab her from space, so she does got her powers. We just don't know the extent to it. But this is Binary in their universe. However, it's never been said anyway, and we don't really even know if they're in the actual X-Men universe that we know, because we've never seen any other Marvel characters besides X-Men inside the Fox universe for them.
Well, I guess it doesn't. For me. It doesn't really matter which specific universe it is, because we saw Professor X too. So
in a different line.
It's all multiverses. So even though it is Kelsey Grammer, it could be like a wholly different universe that we never saw before. That's why for me it wasn't like seeing Beast wasn't all that exciting, but hearing Kelsey Grammer was like, oh, this guy's in. Like, he's not against, or he's not like, I'm retired from Beast. I'm not I don't do this shit anymore. No, he's like,
if he doesn't have to put the makeup on and it's just fully CGI,
he's available. So that was the only Beast or like X-Men takeaway that I had.
Yeah. For me, I think the whole, and again, kudos to Benny Westside for being like, I love this meeting of these two and where that could lead. To me, it's simply, hey, this is another major hint. We're bringing the mutants into the MCU, whether you like it or not. Here they come, and that's just like for the fans to be excited for that. Will the connection between Binary and Photon accumulate to anything? Hopefully, for the Benny Westsides out there, but probably not.
Given the reaction to this movie, I don't know that they're gonna explore like any more Marvels.
Yeah, unless, again, Photon could go on her own journey and bring the X-Men over into this MCU greater world, potentially. But who knows, right? Because she obviously understands those teleporting things and knows how to fix them.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Speaking of reaction to this movie, for me, the movie's fine. But marketability-wise, do you guys think it would have brought more people in if they had like a Quasar or a Blue Marvel, like a male Marvel, in the final fight, or maybe even throughout the movie? Once maybe the band, they realize the issue is with the quantum bands, they go to Quasar. Captain Marvel's like, oh, I know the expert on this. They go to Quasar, and Quasar helps them. Or, somebody like that. And then in the final fight, and then they cast like a known actor. Or another idea I had was it could have been Thor.
Right.
But what do you guys think about that? Do you think that would have helped the story or the marketability, or it would have just been worse?
So, okay, are you asking, would idiot men come and watch this movie if it had a strong male representation?
I'm saying, would it have made more than $65 million in 2 weeks?
I don't think so. I think there's a couple of issues as to why this movie didn't make as much money. I think they've pulled a lot of the marketing dollars, partially because Disney's hemorrhaging money, partially because of the actor strike. Like, there was very little Loki 2 promos as well. Now they're coming out. They do actors doing little
appearances.
Instagram appearances everywhere, just chatting it up and doing all kinds of stuff. No actor was available to do anything like that. No press tours or anything was able to happen with Captain Marvel or the Marvels. I think that would have hyped the movie a little bit more and got more in the door. But I don't think the story necessarily needed to change at all. And jamming something like that in, I think it would be like a full rewrite, and I think they're trying to push strong females, and that's the point of the Marvels, which is, I don't think is a bad thing, but there's some ignorant a-holes out there that obviously do. So I think this one would always perform lower than Captain Marvel. The other thing is, I don't think Captain Marvel would have done as well if it wasn't framed in between the Infinity War and knowing that Captain Marvel has something to do with Endgame, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I think people and those ignorant a-holes went and watched the movie because they thought they had to.
Yeah.
And then they went to the internet to just cry so hard that they had to watch this movie. And Brie Larson is such a horrible person.
One other thing,
whereas that there was no opportunity for that, and so
yeah,
I think it made less money overall because of those reasons.
I also think Disney.
I'm down. Keep those females coming, baby.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Young Avengers.
I love
for that
it,
reason.
man. Like when she went and annihilated Hala, or like the Supreme Intelligence, I was like, I wish I was AI, man. Like bring on those female superheroes. I do think Disney Plus has or like HBO Max has spoiled a lot of people on like going to theaters, because if I know something's gonna be in my home like 6 weeks, 2 months from now, and I don't have AMC Plus or what, I have a subscription where like I can go watch as many movies as I want. But
it makes them way more affordable.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't have that and they have to pay for each ticket, then I understand why they would just want to wait for it to come on to Disney Plus. So they, especially if it's not something that they're super hyped about, which for this case of this movie was.
I was in that boat. I wouldn't have watched this movie in theaters aside from because you asked me to do this. And I was happy to do this. I watched the movie knowing that I would have fun filming this with you, obviously.
I appreciate you, man.
But I go to very few movies for that same reason. I think COVID had a huge impact on that. Movies going to streaming sooner and people being like, the movies are expensive. I'm already paying for a subscription. If it's not like do or die, I have to see it in theaters, like Avatar like movie or whatever, or like Mad Max Fury Road, which are like just beautiful movies on the big screen. They were built for the big screen. I'm waiting to watch it on stream. I'm in no rush.
Yeah, I don't have that option. Especially when it's a young teenage character in a movie and my daughter's like, we're going to see that one. Okay, guess we're going. Okay.
Nice.
Did she like it?
So, but she was fangirling the same times that Miss Marvel was fangirling all over Captain Marvel in it. She was just going nuts with it. And she's sitting there. But only for this particular purpose, because I was like, we wouldn't have saw it if she wouldn't. We wouldn't have saw it that first day if she didn't say something. If she didn't say something, I was like, dude, we could probably see this next week. Because I'm pretty sure this doesn't really have too many implications in other movies or anything like that. It's probably maybe one, maybe the end credits, and I was right. But she's like, no, let's go see it. I really want to see it for Miss Marvel in there. I want to see it right there. I don't want to have it, I don't want to jump on TikTok or Instagram or something and one of my friends spoils it for me, and I'm like, well, okay, cool, let's go. And it's really another reason for me and my parents too to go see Marvel movies. That's our little tradition. But she was all fangirling out about it, sitting there ragging on me, and I was like, this will be the one time where I just say, you know what, in a Marvel movie, you can ask me whatever the hell you want. But pretty much you're already like shrugging on my shoulder already, so I'm just gonna enjoy the movie with you. Because
a great way to think about it.
Yeah, she's not gonna with most Marvel movies, and I said it profusely before Endgame. Do not ask me nothing. I have no idea what's happening in this movie. Let me enjoy it with you. Just, I don't know what's going to happen. No idea. We don't know what's going to go down here, so don't. And I've kept that up with every other Marvel movie at the theaters because you can't rewind it. So, here, however, it took us like an hour and 45 minutes to watch the last episode of Loki because all they kept doing was asking questions. And I'm just like, I just can't anymore. But whatever, let's just keep going. But she adored the movie. She was just like, oh my god. She thought the Flurkins were hilarious. She did, however, was like, I don't. She kind of said the same thing, Benny. If it was a catchier song, the dance probably would be a little bit more memorable. But since it was just this out of the blue song, who knows? They wouldn't do it.
So
And it just wasn't.
I think the moral of the story here, Benny, is you should have invited ZeroKool Gamer's daughter here,
Yes,
not
the two
not
of us would have had an amazing time. I'm with you. Like I'm with her. Whenever like, remember they're in the plane or like the spaceship in Aladna, and she sees Captain Marvel like jet by from the window, and she's like, "Oh, Captain, my Captain!" Like,
Yep.
she's in so much awe, and I can completely feel that. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
So, I
did
guess-
the same thing.
So obviously, you may have guessed I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. I liked it for like kind of what ZeroKool said was like it's a fun action popcorn movie. You know, you watch it, you kind of forget it. But hearing that your teenage daughter got a lot out of the movie and was super hyped to see strong females on screen representing, the movie's a success as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Whether I like
she
it or
was
not,
happy
irrelevant.
with it. Yeah.
Disney hit what they were aiming for, so that's more important. To get females, I mean, their goal maybe is a little skewed of like, hey, get into these comic book movies so you'll watch all of them. But for me, showing strong females that they can look up to and become strong females themselves, more power to you. Make all the Marvels you want.
Very well said. And along the way, you can catch a couple dudes like me that also
exactly.
fangirled all over it.
Nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that either.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Anything else, Benny? Because I have exhausted my
Yeah.
hate for the movie, I think. Well, that's not true. If you bring up another topic, I'm sure I have critique on it. But is there anything else you want to talk about? Is there anything we missed?
Not really. You kind of said your final, closing statement, or something like.
Yeah,
ZKG, do you have anything to that regard?
I like I said, I give it like a B. It was just fun, fast paced. The plot was a little all over the place, but it was. I don't think it was worth $5 Tuesdays. We could have waited till it came off on Disney Plus, but whatever. Daughter said, "Let's go see it." Okay, cool. And it was a nice, fun time, especially when you get to like feel that reaction, because seeing it on screen is one thing, but then you got like okay, I'm watching the same thing with you, but okay, cool. I know you love this, and she loved the show. She did have her critiques about it too, where she was just a little because I did explain to her actual Inhuman background, and she's just like,
Right.
I don't know why
What?
they changed it. They could have just left it there, but whatever. And
Well,
she was perfectly fine with the movie.
she wouldn't have gotten entangled if she was not light based.
Yeah, she would. Light based, but it's the way they did it. They could have really either did a some type of flashback or something to how the other Bengal got there. That would have been great. Just some way you could have hinted at something to where you go, ooh, I want to know how that actually went down.
Why does everything end up on Earth? How does that happen? How does that keep happening?
Yeah. They had 2 or 3 Infinity Stones?
Oh, it's a ridiculous amount of things on this Earth, man.
It's just,
10
I
rings?
think aliens just go, it's a backwater planet.
As
Whatever,
if
nobody's
humans-
going to go there.
As if humans don't have enough superiority complex. Let's just add to it with
Yeah,
being the center of the universe, literally.
yeah.
If they don't explain how all these little trinkets aren't somehow based from Kang or something, then stop alluding to it. Just let it be from whatever, because it's just, come on.
I feel like they might
Okay,
be
Ben.
doing away with King. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Benny and I talked about that a little bit. We'll go watch Benny's videos on season 2 of Loki to see what Benny really thinks about this multiverse business, because I'm telling you, Benny is over it. You better go find out why. I'm just plugging all your videos now.
Yeah.
Go check it out. I will say the only part, the best part, besides the fact that the episode 6 of Loki was pretty much amazing,
Loki spoilers.
was-
Loki spoilers,
yes.
everybody.
Not really a spoiler, but the look on Miss Minutes' face when he just comes through the door really fast, and it was
So
like boom,
good.
and they're just like,
That's funny, yeah.
we were
It
just
was
like,
very
what the
good.
hell's going on? But it was so good to see, to experience that episode was good. The Marvels itself, like I said, you everybody can wait. I don't think it's worth the $5 for Fight Out of Tuesdays. The story,
But it's in-
the plot line was a little rushed.
It's a fun watch. It's a fun watch.
Yes, it's a fun watch. I enjoyed
Okay.
the fun part of it because it was quick. It was just like boom, 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 boom. Okay, we'll slow it down a little bit. Okay, and then right back to it, and you were just like, oh crap, it's already done. Cool. This is okay. But I think if they had to like explain all their powers, if this was like an origin story, I think it would have been like, okay, this was way too quick because now I don't really.
Yeah,
feel
no,
invested
that would have
in
been a
it.
mess. That would have been a mess. For sure.
Mhm.
Okay, Benny, with all of my rage and hate on this movie, what are your final thoughts now? Did I impact you at all, or are you just still a hardcore fanboy till the bitter end?
Well, so my fanboyness wasn't like a blind fanboyness. I went in hoping to enjoy it, and I really did. I thought it was a really fun, eh, great movie that gave me a good time in the theater. And it's not Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's not Avengers Endgame. It's not Thor Ragnarok. But, it's one of their they're up to like 30 movies now.
Yeah, 33 or something. Yeah.
It's one of their fun, exciting cosmic movies that for me is a good one to rewatch. I really liked it when I watched it again in IMAX. For me, IMAX is good for like space movies, especially.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm really happy that ZKG's daughter loved it that much. I'm
I
with
agree
you,
with that.
Cleaning Agent.
Yeah,
that was, I'm happy to hear that. And as you said, the movie hit its mark. Then it succeeded in their goal. Yeah, and I'm very happy that you guys joined me in this discussion. It was very insightful. I got to see things from perspectives that I hadn't considered, and it was very eye-opening, and I appreciate that.
Well, you know me, Benny. I am always happy to do things like this with you. Always happy to go higher.
As long as I get to see his face, especially on the weekend.
Oh my.
It's a good. It made my day. Made my day today.
Well, if you're always happy to go higher, I'm always happy to go further.
Maybe a little faster.
Ew.
There it is! Higher, further, fucking faster, baby! I'll see you in the next one.